AI is writing our emails, helping doctors read scans, coding apps from natural language, and even negotiating our bill. Well, at least at the start, you could do those things. When AI came out, it was a shocking event. And if you were like me, you were probably going to ChatGPT, asking it anything and getting wild responses. But now it's a bit different. No longer a consultant, it's an educational tool. So AI, what's real, what's hype? Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm your host, Caleb King, where I make tech videos pretty much for everybody to understand. If you like this content, hit that like button, follow for more so other people can get in on the action. So if you ever wondered, is AI just fancy autocomplete or can it really take my job? You came to the right place. Okay, so artificial intelligence is this really broad term. AI at its core is really just software performing tasks that we would associate with human intelligence. So think of understanding language, recognizing patterns, making predictions, making some bad decisions. We're pretty good at that. Now, what you use on a daily, whether it's a chatbot, code completion, video, image tool, if it's AI, then it's probably coming from what is known as a subfield as machine learning, specifically deep learning. And really what's happened over the past few years is we've been able to take deep learning and instead of associating things to one task, we are associating it to multiple tasks, which is really more or less creating intelligence. Okay, so why does AI feel different in, let's say, 2020 compared to 2025? Well, to me, it's really coming down to three big shifts. So shift number one is scale and data. And people don't really think about this, but the way y'all were able to say, hey, take all my data as long as I can use TikTok, was just a telltale sign of how important data is, but not important to us because it doesn't matter unless it's at scale. So for example, my data by itself, probably not worth much. Data of a billion people, probably worth a lot. But I used to be able to give you data, I couldn't do anything with it. So then part two of that is the compute power. Computers are getting better, more powerful, you can do more dangerous shit. Is ultimately what it comes down to. Shift number two, multimodality. Ooh, fancy word. What does that mean, Caleb? I had to look it up before I made this video. But ultimately, it's just another way of AI being able to recognize different things. I'm talking about it can recognize an image, a PDF, a Word doc, a video, text. Those are all things that require some type of pattern. And think about it. Computer's gonna do that crap. Now it can do it. Multimodality. And now we're talking about shift number three, which is probably what you're more familiar with over the last 6 months, which is agentic AI, meaning, hey, can I put AI in a spreadsheet? Can I have AI in my email? Can I have AI in these popular applications to do the things that I was barely even doing before? That is where a lot of startups, a lot of businesses are trying to capitalize on. All right, so the result, AI has gone from a toy to more or less a productivity tool. Some would say AI at this point is more of a feature than a product, and some would say it's literally and or both. Now, how does AI work? Excellent question. It comes down to 3 steps. First, like my boy Goku, training. Like I said, you gotta give a model data. It has to be able to identify and create patterns out of that data, training itself. Second would be what's known as alignment. People like myself, or people way more technical than me, go in there and create guardrails. Kind of like in iRobot, the 3 laws. You know, if you remove the first 2 laws, you know, Skynet happens. And third would be tooling, meaning you are now training, you are now creating the guardrails, and now you are more or less integrating it with different tools. We're talking calculators, web search, code completion, CodeRabbit, which seems like every day on YouTube is advertising these days. So AI doesn't understand like a person, it understands patterns. And pattern of people, unfortunately, is we think we're way smarter than what we actually are, but we're kind of simple and we all actually have a pattern. AI is just able to identify that pattern. So when you ask a certain question like a why, a how, a to, a what, it's looking to provide you an answer that matches said pattern. But what is AI good at in 2025 when it really comes to pattern recognition? I will tell you, I remember watching this video with Alex Hormozi, and he more or less went on a whole rant talking about how AI is going to cure cancer. The funny thing is, I've been seeing posts lately of people saying we have found ways to cure cancer, not because of AI, but I can only imagine like they've had to use some AI, like ChatGPT somewhere, right? Like it just, I feel like everybody's touching these tools. But what is really good at in 2025 isn't necessarily curing all diseases and working like a slave for 24/7. It's really good at writing and doing emails and copy and written content. I think a lot of people have leveraged it for writing. Is it replacing journalism though? No, because journalistic endeavors is way more than just the written content. And I think that's that's something that a lot of people are trying to say, AI just going to completely replace writers, completely replace lawyers. And I'm just like, unfortunately, it's not that great at it, and it's not guaranteed to be that great at it. You know, I think when it comes to the like 9 to 5 corporate life, I think analysis, data analysis, phenomenal. I think code completion and actually vibe coding an app, phenomenal. And I think these are two areas that people who are learning how to do this are going to get ahead, and people who have no idea how to do any of this right now, probably not going to be in a good situation in a few years. And see, like to me, AI has been able to help data engineers, software engineers just go faster. Now, if you were maybe when I started, might have been a bit difficult just to like get something going, because you either needed to learn it yourself, and if you did, that kind of leveled you up throughout your career. Nowadays, you don't need to know how to code. You can use Claude Code, you can use Cursor, you can vibe code your way to a SaaS or an app. But at some point, that just gets you through like the initial phases, which has always been like the big obstacle for a lot of people. You still need somebody who knows how to identify bullshit code. Sorry, slop code. You guys get my point.